Just want to remind you guys, this episode is presented by Prize Picks. Download the app today. Use the code JUICE to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup.
What's going on, Colts Nation? So, few hours after the Indianapolis Colts win their final game of the 2024 season, a lot of us were wondering what the job decisions were going to be in regards to a couple key pieces in the Indianapolis Colts coaching and front office room. And based on what Jim Irsay had put out earlier today, sounds like there will be no changes made for the Indianapolis Colts, and they will be officially running it back in 2025 with Chris Ballard as the GM and Shane Steichen as the head coach. Jim Irsay put out a tweet a few hours after the game saying, as we close out the year, I can't tell you how disappointed I am that we failed to win the AFC South and earn a playoff appearance. Said there's a standard in this city for our team and anyone who steps on the field wearing the horseshoe. The expectation is to win our division and compete for championships. Just being on the doorstep of the playoffs is not the standard I expect, nor what you deserve. We understand that and always accept the challenge. Believe me, I know you share my impatience and frustration. I know you invest your time, energy, and money into the Colts every year. More than anything, we want to reward you with division titles and playoff runs, and we've fallen short in the most painful ways possible. But things evolve quickly in the NFL from week to week and season to season, so I will never stop being optimistic that this team can take the next step. I've been evaluating our entire operation, and I believe in Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen and our collective ability to make the improvements needed to take us to the next level in 2025. I know fans who want an immediate change in leadership will be disappointed. That means we all have a lot to prove, so we'll get back to work and keep doing what we can to earn your support and make you proud to be a Colts fan. Sincerely, Jim Irsay. Cody, a lot to unpack there from this message. And, we even said it a few weeks back that this was likely to happen. We didn't want it to happen. And, after the Giants loss, I think everyone fully convinced themselves that that was the beginning of the end for this regime, because we saw that our playoff appearance or playoff chances dwindle right before our very eyes once again. I mean, I already know how you feel about it. All I ask is we be very careful about some of the words we say. We just obviously want to be respectful, but we also want to show frustration. Tell us what you're thinking, hearing that the Colts are running it back once again.
Well, I think I've probably typed a lot of things that I won't share on here or post on Twitter, just because I know I have people that probably wouldn't appreciate that. But there is a lot to say, man. First and foremost, what a freaking crock of crap, man. Like, seriously, you say all that BS that we just saw Jim Irsay say our standard and standard. Derek, you've been called out. Your standard's an absolute joke, Jim Irsay. And apparently you are an absolute joke because you don't see it as a problem. And I don't know, Derek, it's like the definition of insanity is what the Colts have done, and they just continue to do it. And Jim Irsay apparently just can't see that. He doesn't.
The definition of insanity is doing the same exact thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. That's what the Colts
Derek, I can't even. Season ticket holders were already selling. Like, I can't even imagine what in the world's going to happen. Like, how to lose your fan base 101, I present to you Jim Irsay. That is unbelievable, and it's hilarious, But it's just like, oh yeah. And Derek, going back to what people have said, what players have said. I mean, the Colts, they reward mediocrity. That's what Jim Irsay does. He's rewarding winning absolutely nothing again. We're going into year 9 of Chris Ballard. Derek, I think he's going for a decade. He's going for a decade of not winning the division.
Yeah.
He has to at this point. There's no other explanation. It's hilarious. It's embarrassing, Derek. I'm the biggest Colts fan out there. I've been a Colts fan forever. The Colts have had a big impact on my life in a positive way, mostly. But I'm embarrassed to be a fan, to be honest with you. Like, it's sad. And I even asked this question. I have no idea how they're going to do this because I didn't think even Jim Irsay could go this stupid. But here we are. How in the world are you going to sell the fans on anything in 2025?
Yeah.
I've said it.
I have seen very little of anyone that is like in any way, shape, or form happy with this.
Like, I have said it, and I don't know if you said it. I'm not spending a dominance organization because it's an absolute dumpster fire. And I am not
continue to cover this team. I'll continue to cover this team because regardless of Irsay, regardless of Ballard, regardless of Steichen, my love for the Indianapolis Colts goes beyond them. My love for the Colts goes beyond them. But the problem is like you said, it's so hard to, and especially since he even admits it. Like, I know that this decision is going to make a lot of people who want an immediate change upset and disappointed. It's like, yeah, no shit, dude. Because, like, what else are we supposed to expect? You blatantly pointed out in your post at the beginning, in the first 3 paragraphs, you talked about how the standard wasn't met, that you're disappointed, you're upset, this season was not what we wanted to have happen, and it's been a continuous time and time again where the standard is not being met, and divisions are not being won, playoffs are not being reached, and you're talking about these fans who invest all this time into your franchise to get nothing in return for it, and then the next 2 paragraphs you say, oh, well, I'm going to just keep everything the same. Like, that's so
Derek,
stupid. Like,
honestly,
what is that? You can't say, oh, I'm disappointed in how this season ended and say, like, this is totally unacceptable. And then to say, we're just going to keep these guys who put you there in the first place.
I just don't even understand how you can even reach that conclusion, Derek. It's so silly. And honestly, it's a slap to the face of season ticket holders. It's a middle finger to the fans. You don't care about the fans. It's very obvious you don't care about the fans. And Derek, I've said this for a while now, but if you don't care, why should we care? And that's the point, Derek, where if you thought this year was bad in terms of opposing fan bases taking over your stadium, you're going to have an away game every single week. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
Fans are done. Fans are fed up. You have season ticket holders that have been doing it since the 80s, Derek. Like, fans that have been fans of the Indianapolis Colts have bought season tickets for years that are like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore because it's the same stuff. Like we said, it's a definition of insanity. And Derek, I cannot believe this, but Chris Ballard is the most rewarded loser I have ever seen in the history of sports. It is unbelievable. For as little success as he's had, you said it. He put you here in the first place. He has been the common issue for the last almost decade. You have won nothing of substantial number. You've had only, 2 now of 8 years where you've actually sort of had a chance to be a contender? I mean, honestly, Derek, 2 playoff appearances in 8 years, that's an absolute joke. Yeah. And that's what this organization is. It's a joke. It's a clown show. And the circus continues for another year, Derek. It's really embarrassing. I just don't even know what to say anymore. And unfortunately, I'm not, I was upset, but I'm not surprised because this organization from the top down is an absolute dumpster fire, an absolute abomination to sports. And fans are gone. Like, people are leaving, Derek. People are renouncing their fanship. Like, it's crazy. Yeah. I've never seen it to this level, but here we are. I mean, this is heads and shoulders worse than 2022. It's so much worse than 2022 because there is no direction for this franchise. Absolutely none. You have question marks everywhere. The roster that your GM has constructed can barely beat one of the worst teams in football and allowed 45 points to the worst team in football. It's embarrassing.
The problem is that it's not just about, like, there's no reason to keep the regime, because of the 8 wins that you have, pretty much all of the wins have come against teams that were under 500 this year. And in almost all of those games, you've won by single digits. Like, you've won by a score. Like, it's not like you're really not close. Like when Shane Steichen said a week ago, we're really close. I know it. It's like, no, you're not. You're gonna finish with a losing record. The teams that you did win, you beat the teams that were under 500, just like you. And then on top of it, the teams that you did beat, you didn't beat them by a lot. You didn't beat anybody by any significance. You didn't. So you are not in serious contention. You are not. And the fact that Cody, on the broadcast today, Brady Quinn literally called out Ballard and said, the Colts haven't won a division title in 10 years. Ballard's been here for 8 of those. Think there's any correlation? Like, yeah,
right.
There's no, even the national media people are telling you that. Like, that this guy is dodging everything, Jim. Everyone sees it but you. I don't know if it's because he's so sick that he just wants to, like, while he still has the ability to understand what's going on with this team, he just wants the people that he feels comfortable with. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is, but it's like, dude, here's the thing. So we kind of have to look at this, and we have to understand why this decision was made. I won't try to completely understand why.
Who knows with Irsay? Nobody understands him.
But honestly, I think that the only reason that this would have happened in the first place is because they sold Irsay on the idea that AR, Steichen, and Ballard are a package deal. If AR fails, then they all fail. They're all gone. It's wholesale. Other than that, you're clean slating. Because again, there is no logical reason to think that Chris Ballard is going to take you to the promised land, because he has failed to do anything to make this roster better. He told you at the end of 2023 that we like our guys. We're going to re-sign all these guys. We're going to bring them all back, and then we're going to run it back with this unit, and we're going to run it back with this quarterback, and we're going to make the playoffs. We like our guys. Then we have a worse season than we did this last year, and yet and within hours of the season ending, I know that Irsay had that message typed up already. It wasn't like he was clearly waiting until the end of the season to put it out, because that game certainly did not tell you any differently than what the game against the Giants did. You know, he had that prepared. He was waiting until a few hours after the game to be able to put it out. It just doesn't make any sense that you would keep a guy that has put together a roster full of guys who now your veterans that you have brought to this team have specifically said over and over, there is no vision here. There's no vision here. Like, what could you possibly think that Chris Ballard and Steichen and this group is going to change? How can you possibly think, even if Ballard brings in all these elite free agents, which he clearly can't and won't, your locker room culture is already in the mud. Kenny Moore, who's one of your captains, has said it several times this year that standards are not being met. People are not doing the things they need to do to win football games. And you want to sit here and keep the people that are in charge of that? Why?
You know what the sad thing is, Derek? They're going to scapegoat Gus Bradley. Yes. Does he deserve to be fired? Absolutely. But you cannot tell me it was Gus Bradley is the only issue with this team. Clearly
Oil.
not, Derek. There's a lot of things, starting with Jim Irsay, that are deeply seated issues with this team. And it's just an absolute joke that you would even consider this, Derek. It's just a joke. But I see the argument. The one thing I'll say, Derek, the sliver of thing that I would see, and it's a long-term vision sort of thing, like you said, it's very obvious at this point. I mean, it has to be, right? Unless we go another year. I didn't want to think about that. But they're tied to the hip. I don't think they should have been, but they are. I think it's kind of what we've said, right? AR, Steichen, Ballard, they're all tied at the hip. When and if they inevitably fail this next year, which, Derek, I think we're pretty, unless AR makes this massive leap and can somehow stay healthy, and unless, Chris, like you said, somehow it all gets fixed, which it's odds are it's not. It's not going to get fixed. So whenever they inevitably fail, Derek, you start with a clean slate. And my preferred kind of thing here, Derek, it's been all along, is like if you're going to blow it up, blow it all up, right? And obviously this is the scenario, especially how that Giants game went and obviously how the Denver game went as well, where I thought it was going to be, too much for Ballard to overcome. Well, the 2024 NFL season for the Indianapolis Colts is in full swing. And with that, wanted to share the sponsor of today's video, Prize Picks. When it comes to Prize Picks, this is going to be a great way for you guys, especially, to check out some of the stuff that Prize Picks has. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You heard me right. Only 4 correct picks. You can win 100 times your money, guys, on Prize Picks. Be sure to sign up today and get $50 off instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. So if you're looking specifically for the Colts stuff, that's definitely something you guys should check out. But if you're looking for, like me, more NFL stuff, there's all sorts of stats and stuff that you can check out and make your picks. And there's definitely guys that are very consistent, like Jonathan Taylor against the Houston Texans, that you really feel like you can probably feel pretty good about overall, right? And there's some other ones where you're like, I don't know if I would take the over on that. I don't know if I would pick them to hit that margin, right? So, guys, be sure to go check out all that stuff on Prize Picks. It's only a couple examples. There's all the different odds that you could hope for when it comes to that for Prize Picks. So highly encourage you guys to go check that out, but definitely excited for this season. And hopefully you guys will be following along with us and everything with Prize Picks and what they do. So be sure to download the app today. Use the code JUICE to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code JUICE to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Like I said, guys, it's a great way to continue to stay in with week to week life of the NFL, specifically with your favorite team, the Indianapolis Colts. So be sure to do that. Be sure to check out Prize Picks. And remember, Prize Picks, run your game. But, Derek, I guess if there's a positive thing, it's like if and when they, again, don't meet the expectations, you can have a clean slate with a clean head coach, a clean GM, and also a pretty darn good draft class in terms of quarterback as well. So if there's a little glimmer of hope for Colts fans, 2025, absolutely not. There's not. But moving forward, maybe there's that glimmer of hope. But Derek, for 2025 fans, if your season ticket holders cancel, I've never said that before, but I think we're getting to that point where it's like, I just don't even why would you give your hard-earned money to this franchise? They clearly don't care about you. They don't care about all the money and time and blood, sweat, and tears that you've invested in this team over the years. They don't care. So why should you? And Derek, I think for the first time in the history of this podcast, I'll just say it right now, I am going to view it I'm going to try. It's going to be hard because I have a big sour taste in my mouth right now. But it's going to be really, really hard for me to look at it from a fan's perspective in terms of the positive spin on it, because everybody tries to drink the Kool-Aid a little bit. I mean, that's just kind of part of it, right? I mean, you build into the hype and some of that. I'm going to have no hype and absolutely no expectations for this team this year. And I have never said that. I've never thought about that even, Derek. It's crazy. I didn't think we'd be at this point, but here we are. It's just an absolute joke. And I just don't even know, man, where I'm at right now. But I have no optimism for 2025. I have no optimism anything's going to change. And shout out to Jim Irsay. I never thought that I would ever be saying that about the Colts. I never thought I'd be not looking forward to watching the Colts next year. But here we are, Derek. Here we are. And it's just an absolute slap to the face, an absolute middle finger to the franchise and to the fans. And I don't blame the fans at all if they respond negatively. I really don't. You deserve better.
Not at all. Raise hell. Like, I mean, respectfully, of course, but like, I mean, this is just ridiculous, man. This is just ridiculous that we have to continue to suffer at the hands of the fact that Irsay just won't do anything about it. You know, it's just so stupid. I can't believe that we're going to have another season with a quarterback that is not being trained to be an NFL quarterback by a head coach that clearly that isn't PR trained and clearly doesn't have control of his locker room and doesn't hold guys accountable.
I question his leadership. Yeah, I question his leadership 100%.
Yeah, doesn't hold guys accountable for missing meetings, missing treatment, and then a GM that continues to do things his own way when everyone else around him is saying to do something differently. And the problem is now, Cody, is you know what's shitty now is the fact that in free agency now, all these free agents, right, that are in free agency, and the Indianapolis Colts gets brought up. Look at what's the sales pitch? What's the sales pitch for us? Oh, come to this locker room where, you know, guys consistently miss treatment and miss meetings because they want to, and they're never held accountable by their head coach, and their head coach doesn't know how to train their quarterback to be an actual quarterback, and you got a quarterback that can't even make a simple out route pass or anything within 10 yards to save his freaking life. Like, what possibly could anything come from wanting to try to get a good free agent to come to Indianapolis? There's no reason anyone should come to Indianapolis. None. And you're complacent with a GM that doesn't want to pay anybody other than the people that he drafts, and half the people that he is paying are trash. So, like, what's the point? I mean, you're not going to get anybody good in free agency. We know Ballard. He's not going to change his philosophy. And Lord knows he's probably going to screw up our draft too. And I have no confidence. I am so,
no.
I don't know if it's because just I'm salty about it. I don't know. But I have no confidence. I have no confidence. I have no confidence that our free agency strategy is going to change. I have no confidence that we're going to be able to draft very well. And, you know, and we're going to hear the same message in his 9th season as we did in our 8th. We like our guys. We like the group of people we have, and we're going to continue to keep trying. That's all you're going to hear. And then when Anthony Richardson isn't good in 2025, and then we hear, oh, well, it was the quarterback that was the problem. It's not Ballard and Steichen's fault. Like, I'm going to be so mad. I'm so mad. And you're right. We're going to lose so many tickets next year. Cody, they were selling tickets for $2 on SeatGeek today. $2 to go to a Colts game. I don't care about the snowstorm. The snowstorm wasn't going to keep people away if this was a legitimate game. That's the problem you have here, is the Colts. We knew this wasn't a legitimate game. People were wanting the GM out of the building, and people were literally trying to sell their tickets for pennies on the dollar just to be able to get rid of them. And now, like you said, I have seen so many people saying that they want their season tickets refunded and do not want to go. And it's like, that is what you're about to experience this next year. You may have a couple games next year early in the season when you might sell out potentially, but you're right. There's nothing that's going to come of this that Colts fans are going to be like, yay, I'm excited for 2025. We just know we're in for another season of mediocrity next year, unless somehow, some way, Anthony Richardson just ascends to the next level. Outside of that, you have no hope.
And I wouldn't be surprised, Derek, if some veterans request trades. And I wouldn't blame them one bit. DeForest Buckner, go get yourself an actual legitimate franchise that cares about winning. Kenny Moore, same thing. Some of those guys, they deserve better, man. Some of the players, they deserve better, right? Because this franchise clearly doesn't care about them. It really doesn't. At the end of the day, Derek, it doesn't care about their success. I mean, this team doesn't care about winning. It doesn't. This franchise doesn't care about winning. It's sad how far it's fallen, right? It's sad how far Jim Irsay has let this go. I mean, Derek, we know about what he did with Ryan Grigson and Chuck Pagano. It's the same thing. No success, but you reward it. It's a Jim Irsay problem, Derek. Yes, Chris Ballard's a problem, but it's Jim Irsay. He's done this twice now, where he's kept a GM and a head coach, more GM here, I guess in this case, far longer than he deserves. It's just sad. And unfortunately, Derek, I just don't see that changing unless Jim Irsay gives the franchise, like you said, to somebody else. I just don't see it changing because he's consistently done this since really Manning left. He's done this, and it's been an absolute joke. And I don't blame fans at all, like we said, that want to be gone because he clearly doesn't care about you. He doesn't. He doesn't. It's sad. It's embarrassing. I know we even have different people, Derek, like people who did some podcasting who were like, I don't even know if I want to cover this team in 2025.
Yeah.
That's the point we are. And to be clear, we are going to, at least unless something drastically changes in our lives, we are planning to cover this team in 2025. As much as sometimes, Derek, you kind of just want to say, screw this team, I'm done. We still love this team. We still love this franchise, and we're going to cover them even when they do crap like this. I don't want to sometimes, and certainly right now, I kind of want to be like, Jim, you don't deserve our coverage. You don't deserve to be talked about, but someone's got to be here, man. And so we're going to be here, and we're gonna talk about this team. And I don't think it's going to be a very positive year for us in terms of what we got to say about the team, but here we are, and we're not going anywhere. So.
Yep. I don't know, man. I'm so upset. And it's not even it. And Jim Irsay didn't even have to sleep on it to be able to come up with this decision. And I'm so frustrated. I'm tired of mediocrity. I'm tired of Chris Ballard getting a pass for everything. I don't know, man. I want to be an optimist because I hate being negative about the team that I love. But
you just can't.
There's nothing that has me excited. Nothing.
It's sad. I don't want it to be that way, man.
Yeah,
I don't. I want to
really a middle linebacker that cares more about being a podcaster and his own personal shine than about winning football games. You have your best secondary player in Kenny Moore calling out several times that guys aren't doing everything that's necessary to win football games. You have DeForest Buckner that's coming out saying that, things are not up to standard and that, we need to have tough conversations. The only coach that you have that even had any resemblance of any kind of real emotion and passion about how bad this team has been this year was Gus Bradley after that Giants loss, saying if you're not embarrassed by what you just saw, then you shouldn't be an Indianapolis Colt. I totally agree with you there. And, you got a quarterback that clearly doesn't know what he's doing or, is simply just too injured to really care about anything right now. And, you have so many issues, man. I don't know.
Look no further than the Colts' last two drafts in the first and second round, Derek. I mean, truly, look at that. You had Anthony Richardson and Juju Brents. Both of them can't stay on the field. They're both injured more times than not. Then this last year, I mean, I like Latu. I think he still could become a good player. But A.D. Mitchell looks like an absolute bust so far, Derek. So back-to-back drafts, Derek, you have not had an impact player who has been on the field in the first two rounds. So if Ballard won't even go and, address it in free agency, and he clearly can't draft right now in the first and second rounds, I just don't even know what there's to look forward to. You can't even look forward to the draft anymore because we've reached that point. It's so sad, man. I just don't even know what the appeal is. But Derek, I don't know what it's gonna take, but it might honestly take this franchise being one of the worst in the NFL next year for it to actually make some sense. But again, it's Jim Irsay. Who knows? It's clear he doesn't care about winning right now.
Yep. So, all right. Well, I mean, you guys share your thoughts with us about how happy or disgusted you are with this. You've obviously heard us. We are clearly not happy. And I imagine most of Colts Nation isn't. Once again, let us know your thoughts to Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen, both coming back for this next year. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. And as always, guys, go Colts.